Hey there, fellow adventurers. It's your boy Anthony back with another epic travel tale. I don't know about you, but the open road always calls to me. That feeling of the unknown, the thrill of adventure, it's intoxicating. And this time we're going global, baby. We're talking about diving headfirst into the most diverse countries on our beautiful planet. Now, I've been lucky enough to travel a good bit, but this was different. We're talking about cultures so vibrant, landscapes so breathtaking, and climate so varied, it's like stepping into a different world with each stamp on your passport. From the bustling souks of Marrakesh to the tranquil temples of Kyoto, the flavors of Tuscany to the outback's raw beauty, get ready for a sensory overload in the best way possible. So, buckle up because we're about to embark on a journey that'll tantalize your taste buds, ignite your wanderlust, and leave you with memories that'll last a lifetime. We're talking about more than just checking off landmarks here, folks. This is about immersing ourselves in the heart and soul of these incredible destinations. Get ready to laugh with me, be amazed with me, and maybe even get a little lost with me along the way. First up, we're jetting off to a land of vibrant colors and ancient traditions, Morocco. Imagine navigating through bustling souks, the air thick with the scent of spices. Then we're whisked away to Japan, from neon-lit streets to serene temples, slurping down ramen and navigating Shibuya Crossing. Next, Italy, indulge in pasta, sip wines, and wander ancient ruins. Finally, Australia, snorkel the Great Barrier Reef and dodge kangaroos in the outback. Now, I know what you're thinking, Anthony, this sounds incredible, but isn't it expensive, time-consuming? And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, traveling the world takes a bit of planning and saving. But here's the thing, it's an investment in yourself, in your understanding of the world, in experiences that'll shape who you are. See, anyone can book a trip to an all-inclusive resort and call it a vacation. But to truly experience a country, to immerse yourself in its culture, to connect with people from all walks of life, that's something special. That's what we're aiming for here. So whether you're a seasoned traveler or just starting to dream of far-off lands, I invite you to join me on this incredible journey. Pack your bags, open your mind, and get ready for an adventure that'll change the way you see the world. Trust me, folks, this is more than just a trip. It's a chance to discover the incredible tapestry of cultures and landscapes that make our planet so damn amazing. Stay tuned and let's get this adventure started. All right, folks, first stop, Marrakesh, Morocco. Stepping off the plane, it hit me, the heat, the scent of spices, the sounds of a language I couldn't understand. It was exhilarating and a little overwhelming. But hey, that's what travel's all about, right? Throwing yourself into the deep end and hoping you can swim. Now, I pride myself on being able to navigate my way around a foreign city. But Marrakesh, man, this place was a whole other ball game. The Medina, the old city, it's like a labyrinth of narrow alleys with shops piled high, donkeys pulling carts, and people everywhere. I got lost about 5 minutes in, clutching my map like a lifeline, but you know what? Getting lost is half the fun, right? I stumbled upon this tiny little stall, tucked away in a corner, smoke billowing out of it. The aroma alone was enough to stop me in my tracks. Turns out they were making tagine, this slow-cooked stew with lamb and vegetables, all fragrant with spices. I couldn't resist, I had to try it. Now, my Arabic is pretty much non-existent, and the owner spoke about as much English. But with a lot of pointing, laughing, and hand gestures, we managed to communicate. And that tagine, man, it was the best I'd ever had, tender, flavorful, and the perfect introduction to Moroccan cuisine. That's the beauty of travel right there. You can't speak the language, you're lost in a maze of ancient streets, but you connect with people through food, through laughter, through shared experiences. It's a universal language, and it makes the world feel a little smaller, a little friendlier. After navigating the sensory overload of the souks, I ventured into the Sahara Desert. The silence, the endless dunes, the light dancing across the sand. We hopped on camels, these majestic creatures. As the sun set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, we reached our campsite, a traditional Berber tent, the stars blazing overhead. The desert came alive at night, a sense of timelessness. The next morning we witnessed the sunrise, bathing the sand in a golden glow. Back in Marrakesh, I decided to embrace the chaos once more. The Jama El Fana transforms into a vibrant open-air theater at night. The scent of grilled meat wafted from food stalls. I couldn't resist challenging one of them to a match. Even though I lost, it was one of my favorite memories. Marrakesh throws you headfirst into a world of vibrant contrasts. As I boarded the plane, I felt a tinge of sadness at leaving Morocco behind. Well, folks, Morocco was a tough act to follow, but Japan was calling, and it promised a whole different kind of adventure. We traded the labyrinthine alleys of the Medina for the neon-lit streets of Tokyo. Skyscrapers that seemed to kiss the clouds, digital billboards flashing a million colors. My first mission, as always, was to find some good grub. Tokyo's a culinary playground. Michelin-starred sushi, ramen shops, and street food. One evening, I found myself wandering through the Shinjuku-Joen National Garden. The contrast was striking, the serenity of the gardens against the city's skyline. Japan's history is rich and fascinating. I took a bullet train to Kyoto, the ancient capital. Temples and shrines were everywhere. Fushimi Inari Shrine's torii gates were mesmerizing. The landscape was breathtaking. I experienced a traditional tea ceremony. It was calming and meditative. But Japan isn't just about tradition. Shibuya's nightlife is electric. Neon lights and crowds create a chaotic ballet. And Japan loves its bakeries. The bread is amazing. Melon pan is a must-try. Now, Japan seems pretty intimidating for a first-time visitor, and yeah, there's definitely a language barrier, and the customs can be a little different. But here's the thing. The Japanese people are incredibly welcoming and helpful. Even if they don't speak a word of English, they'll go out of their way to help you find your way, order a meal, or even just share a smile. One of my favorite memories was trying to order ramen in a tiny place, and I butchered the pronunciation. The owner laughed and corrected me. It was a reminder that sometimes the best way to connect is through laughter. As my time in Japan drew to a close, I realized I'd only scratched the surface. From Tokyo's neon streets to Kyoto's serene temples, Japan was a whirlwind of contrasts. The most rewarding adventures take us furthest from our comfort zones. Book that ticket to Japan. Trust me, you won't regret it. Just be prepared to slurp your noodles with gusto. It's the Japanese way. Ciao from Italy, folks. Leaving the serenity of Japan behind, I landed in Rome, ready for a sensory overload of a different kind. Forget Zen gardens and subtle flavors. Italy was a symphony of color, a chorus of passionate voices, and a love affair with food that would make even the most disciplined eater say, "Screw it, pass the pasta." The minute I stepped off the plane, the energy hit me like a shot of espresso. People were talking with their hands, Vespas zipped through the streets, and the aroma of garlic, basil, and tomatoes hung heavy in the air. It was chaotic, charming, and utterly intoxicating. Forget jet lag. I was ready to dive headfirst into this Italian feast for the senses. Of course, no trip to Rome would be complete without a healthy dose of history. We're talking about a city that's practically an open-air museum with ancient ruins around every corner. I wandered through the Colosseum, imagining the gladiatorial battles that once took place within its walls. I tossed a coin into the Trevi Fountain, hoping against hope that the legend was true and I'd one day return to this magical city. And I marveled at the Pantheon, its massive dome, a testament to the ingenuity of Roman architects. But it wasn't all about ancient history. After the hustle and bustle of Rome, I was ready for a change of pace. So, I rented a car and headed north to Tuscany. Picture rolling hills blanketed in vineyards, charming villages perched atop sun-drenched hillsides, and cypress trees lining winding roads like sentinels guarding ancient secrets. Tuscany was everything I'd imagined and more, a postcard-perfect landscape that seemed to exist outside of time. I spent my days exploring medieval towns like Siena and San Gimignano, getting lost in their labyrinthine streets and marveling at the artistry of their ancient architecture. I indulged in wine tastings at local vineyards, sipping on Chianti Classico and learning about the art of winemaking from passionate vintners. Leaving the romance of Italy behind, I touched down in Sydney, Australia with a fresh sense of adventure and a healthy dose of jet lag. Now I'd heard tales of Australia, the rugged outback, the unique wildlife, the laid-back attitude that was as legendary as their love for a good barbie. And let me tell you folks, Australia did not disappoint. It was like stepping onto another planet, a land of stark beauty, unexpected encounters, and a sense of vastness that made you feel both insignificant and strangely liberated. First impressions? The air was different here, cleaner, crisper, with a hint of eucalyptus and salt spray. And the light. It seemed to dance differently in Australia, casting long shadows and painting the landscape in vivid hues. Outback adventures and urban delights. But I hadn't come all the way to Australia just to hang out in the city. The outback was calling, and I was itching to answer. So I traded the cosmopolitan comforts of Sydney for a four-wheel drive and a healthy dose of adventure. Now, I'm not gonna lie, folks, the outback is not for the faint of heart. It's a harsh and unforgiving landscape, a vast expanse of red dirt, scrubland, and ancient rock formations that seem to stretch on forever. From reefs to red dirt. But no trip to Australia would be complete without experiencing the Great Barrier Reef, one of the natural wonders of the world. So I headed north to Queensland, trading the red dirt of the outback for the turquoise waters of the Coral Sea. And folks, let me tell you, words can't do justice to the beauty of the reef. It's like diving into another world, a kaleidoscope of colors, a bustling metropolis of marine life, and a fragile ecosystem that's both breathtaking and heartbreaking in its vulnerability. I spent hours snorkeling amongst coral gardens, marveling at the sheer diversity of life. Hola from the land of samba. After the raw beauty and adventure of Australia, I landed in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, with a sense of anticipation that bordered on giddiness. I'd heard tales of Rio's legendary beaches, its pulsating samba rhythms, and the infectious energy of its people. And folks, let me tell you, Rio did not disappoint. It was like stepping into a kaleidoscope of color, sound, and sensuality. This was a city that lived life to the fullest, embracing every moment with a passion that was both intoxicating and inspiring. From the moment I stepped off the plane, I was enveloped in a wave of heat, humidity, and the intoxicating aroma of strong coffee and tropical fruits. One of the things that struck me most about Rio was the way nature seamlessly intertwined with the urban landscape. Towering skyscrapers rose up against a backdrop of lush green mountains, while pristine beaches stretched along the coastline, offering a respite from the city's frenetic energy. It was a city of contrasts, where concrete jungles met tropical paradises, and where the rhythms of nature provided a constant counterpoint to the pulse of urban life. Of course, no trip to Rio would be complete without a visit to Christ the Redeemer, the iconic statue that stands sentinel over the city, arms outstretched in a gesture of peace and welcome. And folks, let me tell you, the view from up there was nothing short of breathtaking. Spread out below me was the whole of Rio, the sprawling cityscape, the sparkling beaches, the lush green mountains, all bathed in the golden glow of the setting sun. I'll admit, at first I was a bit intimidated by the energy of Carnival. The samba rhythms were so fast, so complex, so unlike anything I'd ever experienced before. But then something magical happened. I let go of my inhibitions, embraced the chaos, and allowed myself to be swept away by the music. I found myself dancing in the streets with strangers, laughing, sweating, and feeling more alive than I had in years. That's the thing about Rio. It has a way of breaking down barriers, of reminding you that we're all connected through music, through dance, through the shared experience of being human. It's a city that encourages you to shed your inhibitions, to embrace your inner child, and to live life to the fullest. As my time in Rio drew to a close, I found myself feeling a mixture of sadness and exhilaration. Sadness that my Brazilian adventure was coming to an end, but exhilaration at the memories I'd made, the experiences I'd had, and the connections I'd forged. Rio had been a whirlwind of color, sound, and sensuality, a city that had challenged my perceptions, expanded my horizons, and left me with a heart full of joy and a newfound appreciation for the rhythms of life. As I sit here reflecting on the incredible journey I've just taken, my senses are still buzzing with the tastes of the diverse countries I've visited. Food can transport you back to a specific moment. I'm back in a bustling Marrakesh market savoring a steaming tagine, then a tiny ramen shop in Tokyo slurping down noodles with gusto. Next, an Italian trattoria twirling spaghetti alle vongole onto my fork. And finally, in Rio, the spicy aroma of feijoada filling my senses. But it wasn't just the food that left an indelible mark on my soul, it was the people I met along the way, the connections I made that transcended language barriers and cultural differences. In Morocco, I shared mint tea and laughter with a Berber family under a star-studded desert sky, their ancient stories painting vivid pictures in my mind. A shopkeeper in the Marrakesh souk, his face weathered by time and sun, gifted me a small, intricately carved wooden box, a symbol of our unexpected friendship. In Japan, an elderly woman, her face etched with wisdom and kindness, patiently taught me how to properly use chopsticks, her gentle laughter echoing in my ears. A group of salarymen, their faces flushed with sake and camaraderie, welcomed me into their after-work revelry, their boisterous laughter a testament to the universal language of good cheer. I'll never forget the warmth and generosity of the Italian family who invited me to join their Sunday lunch in a sun-drenched Tuscan courtyard, their animated conversation and infectious laughter making me feel like one of their own. Or the gruff but kind-hearted Australian farmer who shared his stories of life in the outback over a cold beer, his weathered face a roadmap of a life lived close to the land. And then there were the Brazilians, their smiles as bright as the feathers adorning their carnival costumes, their energy as infectious as the samba rhythms that pulsed through the streets of Rio. They welcomed me into their celebrations with open arms, their zest for life a potent reminder to embrace every moment with passion and joy. As I unpack my bags and settle back into my routine, I can't shake the feeling that a part of me is still out there, wandering those bustling markets, exploring those ancient ruins, and soaking up the sun on those pristine beaches. The world, I realize, is a vast and wondrous place, full of surprises around every corner, waiting to be discovered, to be experienced, to be embraced. This journey has taught me that the greatest treasures aren't found in souvenirs or guidebooks. They're found in the connections we make, the experiences we share, and the memories we carry with us long after we've returned home. They're found in the realization that despite our differences, we're all citizens of this incredible planet, bound together by a shared humanity that transcends borders, languages, and cultures. So, my fellow adventurers, I urge you to pack your bags, book that ticket, and embark on your own journey of discovery. Open your heart to the unknown, embrace the unexpected, and allow yourself to be transformed by the power of travel. The world is waiting to welcome you with open arms, and trust me, it'll be an experience you'll never forget. Until next time, keep exploring, keep dreaming, and keep the spirit of adventure alive. Bon voyage.